Hello everybody, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Everett.
And today, this is our extended review of the 2018 Kia Rio 5-door hatch. Now, the Rio comes in two different body styles, the hatchback of course, and then just the basic 4-door sedan model. The basic one starts around $14,000 again for the 5 hatch. It can go all the way up to around $19,000 with this trim level, with absolutely every feature you could possibly get on this car, which, let's face it, is not a ton. But hey, you know what? That's all right. It's typical for this segment. It competes with some cars, like the Chevy Sonic, Ford Fiesta, and Honda Fit. All of them, are very similarly priced. Around the same size, offer a lot of the same features. But yeah, so Everett, what are your first impressions on this car? Tell us what you think.
Well, as far as the exterior goes, I think, it's honestly like really low key.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they went really conservative with the body lines and the styling. It's really just kind of a flatter front end. Very
basic.
Exactly, yes. Basic, very soft curves on it. I mean, I can appreciate it as for what it is. Typically, I prefer, maybe a little bit more
design.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive.
It's interesting enough that the outgoing model, right? So the previous model of the Rio was very different, right? It had these big, weird butterfly-like headlamps, and it had this really strange design to it. And so then they went from something that was really odd and kind of crazy looking to this, which is kind of the complete opposite, which is again very basic, very subtle. Even comparing it to honestly all the cars in the segment, I'd say that this one probably looks the most basic out of all of them. So this one and probably the Chevrolet Sonic, they're pretty basic looking. The Honda Fit has a more interesting look to it. I feel like is probably the top of the design spectrum in this segment. But yeah,
definitely.
So now the interior, though, I think it's pretty nice. For again, for what we have to work with here. For $500, you can get these burgundy accents, which I really like. And it makes it seem, like more is going on in the interior, right? So it's not just a big sea of black like it is a lot, but it had some nice designs. And, the seats are actually pretty comfortable. I find that in this segment, sometimes just the seats can be pretty uncomfortable. These are, modest size, and again, it has the burgundy inserts. Looks pretty good. So what do you think?
Yeah, we have a lot of leg room in here too.
Yeah, up front at least.
Yeah, in the back it's actually pretty tight as far as leg room goes, but up front there's more than enough leg room. I also really like the doors. The fact that they've just you
have some pockets.
Yeah, you have some pockets, cup holders, but they also just did a really good job styling it. I think it's really aggressive but cool looking. And I think
there's some lines in here. It looks
they kind of went with a nuanced design that really I feel just accentuates the space inside.
And I also, not to cut you off, but I also feel like inside this car, it's pretty open for being a small car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like the openness of it because I'm not feeling claustrophobic. On some cars, they have huge center consoles that kind of ride up by your, the mid-waist area. This is not that way. It feels, pretty open, and I can appreciate that. I like that. So
definitely, yeah.
Also, the storage up here, I like that. There's 2 different tiers of storage, right? So that's, it's a good little spot there. The center console glove box, though, pretty small. Look at it.
Yeah, honestly, not a lot to write home about there.
No, but this, watch this. It goes.
Ooh, dang, that's sweet.
You can actually adjust it. It goes in and out. Yeah.
Nice.
In and out. Okay. Anyway, no navigation.
Yeah, that is not ideal.
No, especially again for the price point. We already have the screen here. It does Bluetooth audio. Responsive, looks good, pretty crisp, pretty clear, but no navigation. Pretty disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, would it have killed them to put one in there?
I think it might. Yeah, it probably would have killed them actually. Yeah. So and again, this is approaching that 20K mark where you can get a Honda, Honda Civic or almost Ford. Well, definitely a Ford Focus. So it's kind of I don't know.
It is really responsive though.
It is. No, it looks good. I think it's big.
And I do like the screen. It's a nice size. It is responsive, especially the touchscreen. I like it a lot. Just kind of the way it's laid out. But again, no navigation.
Right. It's kind of
huge downer.
Yeah, it is. It is. But tell me, okay, so this steering wheel, check it out, feel it, touch it.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I keep talking about this steering wheel, and it's definitely the best steering wheel in the segment because it's this really soft leather. It's actually stitched on the inside. Has this nice design insert right here in the middle. You can grab it in different ways. Put your fingers through the center. And yeah, I like it. It's very comfortable to hold, and especially compared to the other steering wheels in the segment, which are very plasticky, this one by far the nicest one. And so,
also, like the controls there, I think they did a good job like laying it out. So like they're all within like a nice reach, but it's also like just easy to access all those things.
No, absolutely. And I also like the gauges too. The red needles, red dials, they're crisp and clear. They're not, they're nothing crazy, but I like them. They're very clear and easy to read, so they get a thumbs up as well.
Definitely.
So, yeah. The climate control vents, the control here. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Like, this is like a manual vent.
You manually change the blend door. Actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of interesting, but I mean, for like a more affordable vehicle, again, that's something to expect. But I do think they did a good job. Like, I like the colors; they stand out well with the silver accents.
Yep.
Looks good, feels good, and it's functional. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm about it.
Now we have a sport button. We have sport mode. It has a sport
really?
mode. Yes, and it does actually kind of a lot. But let's take it on the road here for a minute. So
now on the base model, it comes standard with a manual transmission. Correct?
It does, yes. No manual transmission, unfortunately, is available in anything but the base model. And the base model also has crank windows and manually adjustable mirrors.
Oh, crank windows!
Yes,
fun.
Remember that? My first car. Well, not my first car, but my first car I can ever remember that we had in our family had crank windows.
Really? What was it?
Yes, it was a Ford minivan, and at the time, I think they were called the Aerostar, and it was burgundy.
Oh, really?
And it was built on a truck frame, and yeah. So,
a truck frame?
Yeah, it was built on a truck frame. It was not like a minivan frame, or it was a legitimate like pickup frame kind of.
Anyways.
Yeah, off the topic.
Yeah. So what kind of cargo space are we dealing with here, Kyle?
Well, honestly, in the rear hatch, it opens up. It's probably a little bit less than the rest of the segment, but what I do like is they cut it out. They cut out the bottom of the trunk, so you actually stuff can kind of sit down in there. And
okay.
Yeah, so it's not terrible. I haven't found it to be a problem. But again, if you're buying this car, you're probably not buying it to put a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah.
All stuff around town. You're going for efficiency. You're going for because it's very affordable. And that's what this car is overall. It's affordable. It's inexpensive. It's probably moderately reliable, being a Kia, and the warranty is good. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you're buying it new or used. You can pick one up for $8,000 or $9,000 used. Yeah, it's not a bad deal.
Definitely. So tell me about the performance and handling.
Tell you about the performance and handling. Yeah. Performance is
that's what we need to know. That's what we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, I know. Everybody is just on the edge of their seats waiting to hear about how we can rip around. KIA Rio. But no, so powering it, we have a 4-cylinder engine, i4 setup, makes around 130 horsepower and similar torque, around 120 to 130 pound-feet of torque.
Okay.
So it's the only engine, this one engine across the whole lineup is available. It's connected to a 6-speed automatic transmission. I can obviously again or anything but the base manual. It's pretty standard. Nothing to write home about either way.
What are the shifts like?
The shifts are not bad. They're pretty crisp, pretty clean. It doesn't find it hunting gears or anything like that. So it's not bad. And it has a manual shifting mode, so you can pop that up to the left and you can shift it manually. So that's nice.
That's fun
to have. Yeah. So that's good. And then 0 to 60 around 11 seconds. So again, pretty comparable to the other cars that it's competing against. And the engine is actually pretty quiet, especially when you're on the highway, and it's not terribly loud, so that's good too. I do appreciate though the handling and the ride quality. I feel like the ride quality is actually really good for this segment, since it is such a small car. Sometimes they're difficult to drive in because they're so short that when you're going over bumps and stuff, it doesn't have as much room to do anything with, right? But in this car, it rides, pretty nice.
Yeah, it's smooth.
It's smooth. So, and again, a couple other articles had sort of the same thing, same sentiment. So other people agree as well that this is probably one of the most smooth cars in the segment. And yeah, you can just see as we're just kind of cruising along right here. It's a very smooth car, and the steering's actually very responsive as well. And that's good, and especially, it's funny, you put it in sport mode, and actually it really tightens up with steering, and it really changes the throttle response as well. No, I like it, and it's probably honestly one of the best cars in this segment. It's a little bit more, shall I say, boring, right? It's a little more average, a little more normal, but that's not a bad thing. This segment isn't known to be super exciting, obviously. So you just want reliable transportation, comfortable, affordable, and that's what this car is. So do you have any final thoughts yourself?
I mean, overall, I guess